This vintage Tomy trip-over traps was sold as spares or repairs on eBay, but is it really a lost cause? Let's find out. Welcome back to another video, and today we're tackling a classic piece of nostalgia, the Tomy trip-over traps, released in 1983. For those who don't know, it's a mechanical toy packed with these traps, which you have to then trip over the traps one at a time, working your way down from the top to bottom, and then there's a timer that goes around there. But there's a problem, actually. There's a couple of problems, so I'll show you around the box and then I'll show you the issues as we go around to the back. Kind of the same, split-second timing, precision and balance, gets as many of the 5 balls safely through the obstacle course as possible before the time runs out. You'll think it's almost impossible even to get one safely to the goal, so I think this is actually quite a hard game. 1 C-cell battery, we've got 5 of them at the top with a release ball, and then you've got like a press, like an action button at the bottom. Box in reasonably good condition, just one tire here that will need repairing. Inside, we've got styrofoam at both ends, which is nice. The styrofoam out, and here it is. Here's our toy. So as I mentioned, you have all the balls down here. They're supposed to ultimately end up in this goal. Obviously, if you miss anything, they'll just roll all the way down to the bottom. You slide them all the way up to the top, and then they would sit here. And then there's this release button that drops it down, and then all of this will be mechanized, and you'll go around, and you've got your action button. So in terms of the problems that I mentioned, the 2 that we know of, first of all, we are missing a battery contact. There's a load of corrosion that's completely eaten that one away, and then the other one that we know about is the push button. So when you push this, the bit that actions all the parts, it can be sticky as well, so we're going to need to clean and potentially lubricate that. Other than that, there might be other problems in there, we just don't know yet, but those 2 things are going to need to be addressed first. So let's see if we can repair this. So let's start getting inside, because there's no point in trying to test anything. There's nothing to attach it to. We're just going to have to go in. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws on here. Now sometimes, so the lid's already coming loose now. This might be holding on something inside. So let's just see if we need all of them. So that's the 4 screws. Let's just remove this. You can see the corrosion there. Oh look, there's so it hasn't gone too far, but we're going to need to make some form of battery contact there. But the first thing we can do straight away is put battery power onto this. Putting the bench power supply on, I'm just adjusting this now to 1.5 volts. And one of the things I learned recently making a repair was to kind of have a look at which one is the positive and the negative, and not assume. So this one is the positive. I think it was the Tomy dashboard, but the colours were wrong. And then this is supposed to be the thing that's, there we go. It's a little bit laboured. We can see the timer is going round as well, that's good. And then obviously when you get to the end, fashion another battery contact somehow. I'll just get out my spares and see if I've got something suitable. So my initial thoughts are just use something like this and cut it down so that we can have it sticking through to this side, and then this bit would come through, and we just kind of either fold it that way, or I think you could possibly go this way, either or, and then we'll just use something like hot glue to just hold it in place. Even with those, I find it's best to flatten that out before trying to cut it. So just like the thick pliers, if you squeeze down on them, see how scissors just works better sometimes. It's weird. And well, that looks really good. So what I'm going to do is I'll clean all this up, get rid of all that residue, and then you can see my plan is to then pinch this backwards down to here, just enough to get through that top layer, and then the IPA can get in and clean it off. I'm really surprised I'm not getting anything there right now. Okay, so it must be the way that spring is sitting. Yeah, I think I might have to redo this actually with that foot higher up. I don't think it's making contact with the base. Okay, welcome back. Didn't take as long as with everything. The second time you do it, you get a bit quicker. You can see basically I've made this section larger so it sits more in the center of the battery, and then that's been secured on the inside, that's been secured at the base there, and then once I've finished everything I'll also be putting some hot glue over the back as well, just to give it a little bit more reinforcement. The next thing to do is to carry on with reattaching a wire from back here in the motor over to there. So they're attached. Let's just pop the battery in now and just make sure it's working. 5 volts out of there. 5 volts across there. As far as I'm concerned, that motor should be moving now. Alright, that's weird. Just something wasn't quite right with this bridge here. Anyway, that's now working on the battery, and I think when we next take it apart and have a clean up, hopefully we can resolve that. We know that the push button is a bit of an issue, this one like this. So what I want to do is just carefully open things up and just give them a bit of a clean and a tidy. So I think this is possibly now where we take out this extra screw. Still feels like it's held in place. Okay, I couldn't see it. There's a black screw down inside there. So no wonder it wouldn't come out. There we go. So that's all our mechanisms running. Everything seems to be fine. I think what I just want to do is kind of clean around some of these areas. Just kind of take things apart a little bit at a time. So you'll have seen that I went for just using IPA on this one. You could strip it all apart, get it in the sink, build it all back together. I just didn't want to leave any residue on anything, especially with the tolerances being quite small. So that push button seems to be working really well. There just seems to be something around this area, like last time, where it sometimes does want to work and sometimes doesn't want to work. Okay, so I think I've sussed out what the problem is, which is it's this part here that's a little bit loose up and down. So when you turn it to where it should be activated, like now, you see if I push down, it works, but if I let go, it stops, and it's struggling there, and then it's obviously stopping there like it should. So there's something going on inside the motor housing. So what I'm going to do is see if I can carefully take the top off. So it's whatever this is. It does look like a bit of the corrosion's got inside as well though. So maybe if we just clean that up. And in fact something I've just spotted is underneath where the battery bay sits, it actually sticks out the bottom there. So if I can clean up around there, that's going to help as well, because it seems to have little bits in there that could have been bogging it down. And so there we go, that's the trip over traps all put back together again. A really enjoyable restoration. With this one we had 3 main issues. We had to sort out the power supply by fashioning another battery contact. Inside everything needed a really good clean, so it's entirely been kind of cleaned all underneath and all inside here and all cosmetically here as well. And that was to get that push button working again. And then finally the timer was really temperamental, though it isn't perfect at the minute. So when I start it, I mean in this instance obviously it's fired up, every now and then you'll turn it, I mean it stops there, every now and then you'll turn it and it won't do anything, and you just give it literally a couple of taps and then it runs absolutely fine. But it's much better than it was, and everything runs really nicely and smoothly and quickly, ready for someone to play with and enjoy. And then in addition to that, I've also pressed the box as flat as I can, just getting rid of a few of those little side indents that we saw, and I've put a light patch repair just on the inside of here, just to reinforce that tear that we had. So I guess now that that restoration's done, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to see if we can trip over the traps one by one and see if it's a lot of fun. Okay, so we're all set up. I've got a battery in the back, and I think this is a pretty tricky game. So even if I just get one to the bottom, I'll be pretty happy, but we'll see how many attempts it's going to take me. So I'll move the time around until the mechanic starts, and away we go. So that's one life down. The trick on the first one seems to be do it just after that click. It slides round. Now I'm waiting for the bridge to come up. See, I've left that too late. So this bit's just getting on now. That's not too bad. Just wait for that click. I think I need to go earlier on that one. There we go. And I'm not sure where. Maybe there. There we go. That takes it around. There's obviously some timing in there. It's just throwing it back on, so maybe you have to go early. There we go. Oh no. So it flicks it back if you go too early. So what am I supposed to do? Just kind of get it maybe just before it goes down. Oh, come on. There we go. Right. This bit looks like it just rolls all the way. Oh, no. That bit's not too bad. That bit's okay. Last one. And I'm out of time. I am going to persevere. I'll just keep recording, and then hopefully I'll splice in one when I get a complete run. This bit's the hardest bit. It really slows you down. I just can't quite figure out the timing. There we go. Just as it lifts up at that end, I think. Then this bridge, it keeps sliding off this way, so I'm not overly sure. There we go. Give it a firmer tap. No, I've got to get it round here, haven't I? So just like, almost like curve it round. There we go. Okay, what am I doing here? This is like it's like a jump or something. There we go, right, okay. Now into there. Get in, there we go. One in the goal. I just ran out of time there as I was starting to get the measure of it, but it's really quite fun. Once you figure out what you're trying to do, it's pretty enjoyable trying to get the 5 of them to the bottom before the time runs out. But if you did enjoy this repair journey of this trip over traps, feel free to like the video or pop in the comments if you remember this or there's something you'd like me to feature. And you can also subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any of my future restorations. In the meantime, there'll be a video that will probably pop up on here, a suggestion of something you'll probably like. And until the next one, all the best, take care and see you.